Babylon the great horse sitting on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth committed whoring, and the inhabitants of the earth were made drunk with the wine of her fornication, the mother of the whores and of the abominations of the earth, drunk with the blood of the set apart ones, and with the blood of the witnesses of Yahusha, a dwelling place of demons, a haunt for every unclean spirit, and a haunt for every unclean and hated bird, because all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her whoring, and the sovereigns of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth have become rich through the power of her luxurious living. Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, and lest you receive of her plagues, because her sins have piled up to reach the heavens, and Elohim has remembered her unrighteousnesses. Render to her as she indeed rendered, and repay her double according to her works. In the cup which she has mixed, mix for her double. As much as she esteemed herself and lived luxuriously, so much torture and grief give to her, because in her heart she says, I sit as queen, and I am not a widow, and I do not see mourning at all. Because of this, her plague shall come in one day, death and mourning and scarcity of food, and she shall be burned up with fire, because Yahuwah Elohim who judges her is mighty. And the sovereigns of the earth who committed whoring and lived luxuriously with her shall weep and mourn over her when they see the smoke of her burning, standing at a distance for fear of her torture, saying, Woe, woe, the great city, Babylon, the mighty city, because your judgment has come in 1 hour. And the merchants of the earth weep and mourn over her, because no one buys their merchandise any more. And the fruit that your being longed for has gone from you, and all your riches and splendor are lost to you, and you shall find them no more, not at all. The merchants of these, those who became rich by her, shall stand at a distance for fear of her torture, weeping and mourning, and saying, Woe, woe, that great city that was dressed in fine linen, and purple, and scarlet, and adorned with gold, and precious stones, and pearls. For in 1 hour such great riches was laid waste, and every shipmaster, and every passenger, and sailors, and as many as worked the sea, stood at a distance, and cried out when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What is like this great city? And they threw dust on their heads, and cried out, weeping and mourning, and saying, Woe, woe, the great city, in which all who had ships on the sea became rich by her wealth. For in 1 hour she was laid waste, and the sound of harpists, and musicians, and flutists, and trumpeters shall not be heard in you any more at all, and no craftsman of any trade shall be found in you any more at all, and the sound of a millstone shall not be heard in you any more at all, and the light of a lamp shall not shine in you any more at all, and the voice of bridegroom and bride shall not be heard in you any more at all, for your merchants were the great ones of the earth, for by your drug sorcery all the nations were led astray. And in her was found the blood of prophets and set apart ones, and of all who were slain on the earth. Babylon the Great, an ancient superpower and one of the most famous kingdoms of all time, a vast empire that conquered many nations, including the kingdom of Judah. And although it was a beautiful place, it was completely corrupt and sinful. The superpowers of today are no different and mimic ancient Babylon with its corrupt world system, which is why we see it used as a representation in Revelation. Idolatry, false religion, commerce, corrupt governments, war, luxurious living, all used to seduce and entice the masses, turning them away from Yah and onto worldly temptations and false teachings. Beautiful cities, but completely and utterly corrupt. The Most High tells us in Isaiah chapters 46, verses 9 and 10, Remember the former things of old, for I am the mighty one, and there is no one else, the mighty one, and there is no one like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from of old that which has not yet been done, saying, My counsel does stand, and all my delight I do. So the Most High tells us to remember the things that happened before, because He has told us the end from the beginning. Now, as great as Babylon was, like all great kingdoms or superpowers, their reign came to an end. After years of domination and rulership, they were defeated by the Medes and Persians. Jeremiah prophesies about this, saying, Thus said Yahuwah, See, I am stirring up the spirit of a destroyer against Babylon, against those who dwell in Leb, my opponents. That's Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 1. Now, if we continue on in Jeremiah, in the same chapter, we are told who that destroying spirit is. Polish the arrows, put on the shields. Yahuwah has stirred up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, for his plan is against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Yahuwah, the vengeance for his temple. That's Jeremiah 51, verse 11. So Yah stirred up the spirit of the kings of the Medes to destroy Babylon. This is referring to the kingdom of the Medes and Persians. We could read about it in Daniel. This is the interpretation of each word. The Mighty One has numbered your reign and put an end to it. You have been weighed on the scales and found lacking. Your reign has been divided and given to the Medes and Persians. As Daniel chapter 5, verses 26 to 28. This is the nation that conquered and destroyed the great Babylonian Empire. And who were the Medes and Persians? They are modern-day Iran. Yes, the Medes and Persians today are called Iranians. They are the destroyers of Babylon. Scripture tells us, what has been is what shall be. What has been done is what shall be done. And there is nothing new under the sun. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. And remember, in Isaiah chapter 46, 9 and 10, he tells us to remember the former things of old, because he has declared to us the end from the beginning. Although two different nations, notice the same characteristics given between the Babylon talked about in Jeremiah and the one in Revelation. The great whore, who sits on many waters, great in treasures, having a golden cup filled with abominations, making the whole world drunk with the wine of her fornication. Modern day Babylon at war with the modern day Medes and Persians. What has been is what shall be. What has been done is what shall be done, and there is nothing new under the sun.